So, I mean, another reason to have standards is so you can apply, if you can have data standards, you can apply better analytics across the board. And Nikki, you've got a story on analytics this week.
Yes, I didn't write this story, but it caught my eye because it popped up in my Google search that I run for mentions of me. So it popped
Well, at
up
least
my email
somebody, yeah,
address.
at least somebody named Nicole write the story. So you're,
But I was quoted in the article, so that's what caught my eye. But also, I'm going to post a link to this. I recently did a LinkedIn poll about to get people's sense of what types of AI software for legal they thought would be most impactful in the near future. And the poll results were, I included three: litigation analytics, legal research, and contract analytics, because quite frankly, those are the ones that interest me the most. And I think they're the most standout categories. And interestingly, litigation analytics came in last. There were 683 votes. Litigation analytics got 21%, legal research 50%, and contract analytics 29%. So I thought that was interesting that legal research just, you know, was way ahead compared to the others. And litigation analytics, which I think is particularly useful, came in last. And so when this, just on the tail of that poll, when this article popped up, I thought it was really interesting, and that it focused on the litigation analytics, which I recently wrote about for the ABA Journal. But what interested me was that, first of all, just getting the perspectives from the different attorneys on the value of litigation analytics, but also the conclusion of the author, which was that, and I'll put a link to this in the chat as well, which was that litigation analytics are not really predictive analytics, according to the author, that they're just giving you past data. But I'm not quite sure, I've often cover litigation analytics tools, including Lex Machina. I've been talking to the Lex Machina guys since they first became Lex Machina, long before they were acquired. And I mean, it is predictive analytics. It predicts. I think it helps you predict what's going to happen in the future. It's not just looking into the past. It helps you understand that the judge has done this in the past, and therefore you can predict. You can make the prediction that if you bring a particular type of procedural motion, that in the past the judge almost always denies that motion. So maybe you should use a different procedural mechanism to try to achieve that same goal, because historically the judge seems to look more favorably on a different procedural mechanism. So it helps you develop strategy that is forward looking. And even though the predictive analytics don't go so far as to say this is what the judge will say, I think that's your job to make that decision. So I thought it was interesting the way that the author described the tool, because in my mind, I think of it quite differently than she did. But either way, I thought it was just a really interesting article, highlighted the value of this type of tool. And and I think that AI software really is the cutting edge, and it's sort of the next stage of what you're going to see with legal software. And I just love it when it gets highlighted. And so that, for any number of reasons, that article caught my eye.
right. And just to be clear, she has a legal analytics company. I mean, she's the CEO of Trellis, which is a legal analytics company. So she has a dog in the race, or whatever the expression is. But
which was another reason why I thought the way that she
yeah,
didn't make that additional leap to show the value of it was interesting. I don't know why she concluded it. I mean, it's just interesting. I don't think there's anything wrong with, and I think it was a great article, but just that the forecasting remains a key goal for legal analytics companies and their users. I sort of think of it as forecasting, but
no, I think it is too. And I mean, you understand it. You can't forecast with any scientific certainty about what a judge is going to do or how a judge is going to rule or whatever. But even apart from how a case is going to end up, it lets you forecast things like how long is a case likely to take, or what is a case likely to cost, or how the elements, how long before I get to finish through the discovery phase, or get a motion to dismiss ruled on or something. And again, it's not scientific. You can't predict with certainty, but it certainly helps you make much more informed decisions about that than you otherwise would be able to do. So in that sense, it's predictive.
All the things that you said, Bob, are so important in managing client expectations. too. I mean, most of the time I've gotten in trouble with clients is because they like, well, why isn't this case over? It's a simple case, and you say, well, the judge's backlog, and now you've got analytics to say, well, yeah, I told you when we started it would be X amount of time before this ruling came.
Good
I
point.
apologize, Molly, I interrupted you.
No, it's the other part that just strikes me with this is that it's taking that look back and understanding patterns either confirms or debunks your gut instinct on things. So my gut feeling is this judge does this. Well, now and you can also, like Steve just said, manage client expectations. This is who we're in front of. This is his record, this or her record, and this is what we can expect with this type of case. So that's incredibly valuable to me in developing strategy and communicating with clients.
And actually, as lecturers have expressed to me with one of their recent product releases in this space, that this is something that often you'll have people, obviously you can't do it to the scale potentially that AI can, but you'll have people doing this kind of research, right? And it just, what this does is it shaves a huge amount of time. And this is, I think, one of those areas where they've got a quite demonstrable ROI, because they can measure, they can say, well, look, this is the exercise that would be done, and this is the type of process that they will go through, and this is how long it takes. This takes so much less time to do an exercise that probably realistically for high stakes litigation, you might be doing a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, and to follow up on that point, I mean, it's, in a lot of cases, that kind of analysis couldn't be done historically because it cost too much to do it as compared to the value of the case. And so now it's cost effective, I guess. And to follow up on Molly's point, one of the beauties of this is it enables you as a litigator to kind of understand what the judge already knows. Right. I mean, I've struggled with this as a litigator when you're making an argument in front of a judge that you don't appear in front of a lot. How much does he or she know about this subject matter, and how much do I need to educate them? And guessing wrong, could make for a very long hearing, as the judge was like, shut up, I already know that. That's not something fun to have happen to you. And now you can do the research and say, well, the judge has had 50 of these widget cases and has heard all the substantive arguments. I don't need to spend 25 minutes educating him or her about the subject matter. It's just, I'm a big believer, like you guys are, in litigation analytics, and I'm really surprised, at the results of that survey. I guess I'm surprised, but